My happy marriage didn't last long. We were married for 2 years, and I still had strong feelings for my husband. I spent every day focusing on him, trying to stay attractive and take care of myself. But then I discovered that my husband was cheating on me. The woman he was seeing was very important to him. I decided I wanted a divorce. One afternoon, I thought my husband John was at work, but he unexpectedly came home with his lover. He had divorce papers with him. His lover, who had a blank expression, was there too. I guessed that this trip he was talking about was the honeymoon we never had. We only went on that trip because I got an unexpected bonus, and John suggested we go. We decided to go at the last minute, and I ended up paying for it. John told me that his ex-girlfriend and current lover contacted him during our honeymoon, and that's when he realized he still loved her. I was shocked and said, "What are you talking about? We were on our honeymoon. This doesn't make sense now." John replied, "I love her. She needs me too. We only just realize how we feel about each other. I do care about you, but she's the one I really love. You need to understand." I asked, "How am I supposed to understand? How does he expect me to just sign the divorce papers? What about my feelings?" John sighed and said, "You'll find someone better. You probably don't want to stay in this house anyway. We'll stay here, so you need to pack your things and move out in about a week." It felt like John wanted nothing to do with me anymore. He had asked me out and proposed to me, but now he was the one ending our marriage. He didn't take any responsibility for what happened, and I felt all my feelings for him vanish instantly without even an apology. I signed the divorce papers. John and his lover then left the house, telling me to be out by next week. I felt like my insides were freezing. It all happened so suddenly that I didn't even cry. Instead of feeling betrayed, I felt deceived, which made me feel sorry for myself and my situation. The next day, I asked a friend to help me pack up and move back to my parents' house. Since I'm a nurse and John didn't earn much, I paid most of our living expenses. Even though I was shocked by the affair and the divorce, not having to pay rent anymore felt like a small benefit in this situation. I made plans for where I would live next and started packing my things again to leave my parents' house. Kathy, John's ex, came to my mom's house. It was raining outside, so I let her in. My mom looked at me with sympathy. I wondered, what could my ex-husband want now? He said, "I'm not the love of his life." I wondered if John was here to ask me to come back or if he wanted money. I felt bad for assuming, but given how much he spent and complained about money while we were married, it made sense to think that might be the reason. Maybe he left something behind. I decided to go to the living room to hear what he wanted. "What do you want?" my father asked angrily, but John remained calm as he replied, "I'd like to talk to your daughter." It took a lot of nerve for him to stay so calm. "What do you want?" "I'm busy," I said. When I opened the door, I was stunned to see John's lover, or rather his new wife, sitting next to him as if she had every right to be there. "Why is she here? This is my parents' house. What are you thinking?" I asked. No one should bring their new partner to the house where their ex grew up, and it felt incredibly insulting. "Calm down," John says, and his attitude just makes me more disgusted. The woman with him remains silent again. "Can't you just get this over with quickly?" I asked, probably sounding more irritated than I intended. John looked serious. "This is important. We haven't talked about dividing our things yet. I'm here to get my share." I think to myself, so it's money, just as I thought. John looks pleased. "Yes, that's right. I had a feeling he would come soon, so I was prepared." I take out my purse and give him 30 cents. "Here, this is your share." "What?" John and his new wife gape at the 3 dimes in his hand. "What is this?" He throws the coins on the floor. His new wife suddenly speaks up. "Are you kidding? This isn't property. Stop messing around." They're both furious. "That's all the savings we have left," I calmly explain. John must have expected more. He sneers at me and says, "What are you talking about? There's more. I know you had $200,000. Give me my share of 100,000. He waves his hands around, and his wife nods along. I'm shocked and just stare at him. "You're the one who wanted this over quickly. So if you want the money, hand it to me." John starts screaming and throwing things around the house. He's completely different from the man I knew. It's a relief to have left him. The loud noise and shouting bring my dad, who had left the room, and my brother, who had just come home, into the living room. My dad is stunned by John's outburst but manages to grab John's arms and restrain him, stopping him from causing more chaos. I quickly explain the situation to my brother, who is a lawyer and understands what's happening because he knows about the divorce. John's new wife overhears us and realizes that John has a lawyer in the family. "Hey, I didn't know your ex-wife had a lawyer in the family," she yells at John, her eyes wide. I wonder why they're so focused on money. Even though I don't want to talk to John, I ask him, "Why do you need the money so badly? You left me because you said this woman is your dream. You chose to be with her instead of me, and that's why you wanted me to move out." "Yes, that's true," John replies. "But dividing the property is important. The house we have now was ours, and we want to build a new one. We're planning for a family, so we need a car and a vacation too. I want to do all the things a new husband should, which is why I'm here. It's hard for me though." Every reason he gives seems so selfish. "Okay," I say. "So you didn't want to come here. I don't want you here either. You don't seem to understand how terrible your actions were, so you don't seem sorry at all. I financially supported our marriage. Giving you my share is the least you can do to acknowledge what you've put me through." "Supported you financially?" John scoffs. What did he just say? Did he say I supported him? Maybe I heard wrong. John never wanted to work. He would come home as soon as he could to play online games and would take days off whenever he didn't feel like working, using up all his paid leave while pretending to be sick. John never intended to earn more money and took full advantage of the fact that I was a well-paid nurse. I covered all our living expenses. He would occasionally hand me $100 when he felt like it, but honestly, it felt like he was just an unemployed boyfriend living in my apartment without contributing. John never did any of the housework. Maybe if he had at least acknowledged my hard work, I could understand better, but I'm deeply disappointed by his unreasonable claim that I financially supported our marriage. I was the one paying all the living expenses. How can you say that? Based on what you just said, you should actually give me back the 30 cents I just gave you. What are you talking about? You really don't understand anything, do you? John's new wife interrupts. I'm sure you were excited when you heard about my savings, but I have some bad news for you, I say calmly, as John and his wife glare at me. At this point, my brother speaks up for me. "Excuse me, I'm Henry Thompson, and I'm a lawyer. Let me clarify things for my sister. Only the savings made during the marriage are divided as property. Any money saved before the marriage remains the personal property of the individual. My sister saved up the $200,000 before the marriage, so it's her own money and can't be divided with you. The only amount left in your share account is 60 cents, so your share is half of that, which is 30 cents. There's no point in arguing about this. It seems my sister was saving for your future, but I believe you've spent it all on the woman sitting next to you." Henry speaks calmly, and John and his wife look shocked. John tries to respond. What my brother just said was as Catherine's brother, but now let me speak as her attorney. My client is requesting compensation from you. Why haven't you made this payment yet? I had requested compensation, I explain, but John only paid part of it. I was wondering why the rest wasn't paid, which is why I had my brother step in. My actual lawyer is his colleague, but since we didn't expect John to show up today, Henry is representing my lawyer. With Henry's intense gaze, John and his wife fall silent. You were asking for a share despite being the one who had the affair and caused the divorce. It doesn't make sense for you to ask for anything. It looks like you've already spent the money my sister had saved up for both of you. My sister's request is that you return the full amount you owe her and pay the compensation. That's impossible. John's new wife protests. Honey, let's stop this. We can't push this any further. John stands up and kicks the table while his wife tries to hold him back. When Henry mentions going to court, John seems to give up and starts speaking the truth. John admits, after the divorce, I lost my job, and since my wife is unemployed too, we started borrowing money. Now we're in so much debt that we can't pay the compensation. When we were trying to find a way to earn money, we remembered your savings and thought you might give us half if we talked about dividing the property. I'm stunned and speechless as they completely change their attitude and beg for my help. My brother, standing next to me, shakes his head to signal that I shouldn't listen to them. I have no sympathy for their situation and tell them they still need to pay back the compensation and my savings. I then ask my brother and father to show them out. The last few hours have felt like a storm. My mom returns to the room with a sigh of relief and starts cleaning up. My dad, furious, says what a terrible man John is and helps her. My brother rubs my back and says, "You did nothing wrong. What you did today and the divorce were both right. You should be confident." He adds that we need to ensure they pay the compensation and immediately calls his colleague. "All of us at the law firm are on your side," he says. I'm exhausted. I say, "Mom, you did an amazing job. How about we all go out for steak tonight to lift our spirits?" I collapse into my mom's arms and hug her. My dad and brother agree to the plan, so we have a wonderful dinner together that night. Later, with help from my brother, his colleague, and the law firm, I get back the compensation and my used savings. John and his wife have no luck with job interviews and end up working several part-time jobs. They won't be buying a house, a car, or going on vacation for a while. They seem to be finally grateful to me after experiencing their new life. When we pass each other on the street, they politely say hello, which makes me feel better knowing they've made at least a little progress. As for me, I'm in a steady relationship with the attorney who worked on my case. Henry is thrilled and says this man is perfect for me. 1 year after the divorce, I'm planning to introduce my new boyfriend to my parents soon. I'm sure they'll be very happy for me. I feel this way because when my ex-husband talked about his love of his life, I didn't really understand it. But now, I believe this new man might just be the love of my life.